seems like money is a taboo subject that we talk about in the church, and we use money every day. So open your mind that God wants for you. So he asked the question, how would Jesus invest? We're breaking the poor man's mentality. The poor man's mentality. How would Jesus invest? We're breaking the poor man's mentality. The poor man's mentality.
Well, hello, and welcome to How Would Jesus Invest? I am Gayle M. Gilmore, and my mission each week is to share about that taboo subject and often dirty words in the church: money, finances, prosperity, and wealth. I really thank you for joining me today. And please let me know that you are watching by typing in the chat. And please let me know where you are watching from. I also want to remind you to subscribe to this Gem Nugget channel. Matter of fact, you can share this episode right now. You can chat, you can comment. Hey, we're up to 6,000 subscribers. To God be the glory. Well, if this is your first time joining How Would Jesus Invest, let me tell you a little bit about myself. I am an award-winning author. I have authored 4 books. My award-winning book is How Would Jesus Invest? Breaking the Poor Man's Mentality. It won the 2011 Christian Choice Book Awards because my contention is that, like Hosea 4:6, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, especially about finances, and especially since there's more in the Bible about finances, more than even faith or salvation. Oh my goodness. Also, as I said before, I have written many books, actually 4 books, and you can purchase any of these books at graceandtwineministries.com. My first book, It Can't Be Boring, a Christian youth program for difficult times. That's my daughter, Candy. She just had her birthday the other day. She's on that front cover there. And I wrote a book about my dear friend, Sharon Dixon. She was a domestic violence victim. And so that's only by the grace of God, the story of Sharon Dixon. Also, Miracles of Exchange. Oh my goodness. You know, God intentionally wants to bless you. Intentional blessings. Of course, my award-winning book, How Would Jesus Invest? Breaking the Poor Man's Mentality. See, that's the main thing. We got to break this poor man's mentality because we serve a king. Oh my goodness. And then my DVD, a play, The Last Laugh. Oh my goodness. This play was performed at so many venues, even at the Chrysler Hall Museum Theater back in the day. But again, please order any of my books and DVD again at graceandtwineministries.com. All right, I'm getting ready to show y'all a funny picture here. I usually, this is a different picture from what I showed before, because I want to let you know I have been married to this handsome fella in all of these pictures for 42 years. Matter of fact, next week we will actually celebrate 42 years of marriage. And that's none other than my husband, the founding pastor of Grace and Twine Ministries, James E. Gilmore Sr. And I serve as co-pastor. This is just a hodgepodge of our ride and die days. You know, that's when we first got married almost 42 years ago. And we had a picture of one of our anniversaries. I think that was the 35th anniversary. We just got the guy to do the drawings, and ride or die. I don't actually ride the motorcycle. I just ride on the back, ride or die. But that's us. And so, yes, we have been married. It will be 42 years next week. And so I just wanted to share that with y'all. But I also want to let you know that we are the leaders of Grace and Twine Ministries. And if you are ever in the Hampton Roads area or the Tidewater area, as we call it sometimes, come and visit us at Grace and Twine Ministries. We call ourselves the Gym. We're located at 3923 Deep Creek Boulevard in the city of Portsmouth, Virginia. And of course, as I said before, my husband, James E. Gilmore Sr., is the founding pastor. Our services are 10 a.m. on Sunday. And guess what? You'll find real love at the gym. Just letting you know by way of announcement, every first Sunday, we celebrate Communion Sunday. So this Sunday will be Communion Sunday at our church. We also ask you if you just want to support Grace and Twine Ministries, you can do that at graceandtwineministries.com. You can do that with a one-time donation, or if you make monthly donations, oh my goodness, you set it up, you can become a gym light. That means an online member, and this is so many benefits from being an online member. And you can be an online member from anywhere in the world. So all you have to do is go to graceandtwineministries.com, make monthly donations, set it up. You might want to send your tithe. You might want to send an amount that the Lord lays on your heart every month. And in turn, we're going to send you an official membership letter. We're going to send you an engraved Grace and Twine Ministry pen, and you will be, you can access all of the teaching that we share each week, your Sunday school lesson, your Bible school lesson, and of course, your Sunday services. So why don't you do that? Become a gym light. And also, we do have a Cash App, which is Gem Gifts. You see that there on the screen. And also, you can mail your donations to GEM, or Grace and Twine Ministries, again, 3923 Deep Creek Boulevard in Portsmouth, Virginia, 23702. And Grace and Twine Ministries, we are a 501 3C organization. So that means that all of your donations are tax deductible. Well, you know what? I cannot wait to get into what I want to share today about finances. You know, last week I shared, I was talking about, since we're in the summertime, I was talking about some summer financial tips. And, you know, after I finished last week, you know, my husband and I was talking, and we thought of some things that, you know, I could have shared last week. And I do want to add that this week. We talked about a lot of summer tips, because we were talking about the ant. We was talking about how the ant in the summer stores up for the winter. And I want to make it clear, of course, we know about the summer months. It's like it is. It's hot today, y'all. It's hot today. We know summer is usually from June to August. But when we talk about the summers of our lives, we're talking about those stages in our lives where we are the most productive, where we have the most energy, where we are able to possibly work and do some things to build up our finances. So that's why I have summer like in quotes there, because we're talking about the summertime, where we can, the summer seasons of our lives, where we can build up our finance. So I just want to share, these were just a few more summer tips that I neglected, or I left out last week. And I just wanted to share. You know, there's a product that someone needs or enjoy. You know, back in the day, there was always a candy lady in the neighborhood. You know, there was an iceberg lady, or maybe y'all called it ices or something, you know, because it's cold. And you know, the iceberg lady, she sold the icebergs for like 25 cents. You know, yard sales, you know, that's a nice time to get out and, you know, stuff that you ain't using, you know, because like they said, the things we see is, I don't want to call it junk. It might be another person's treasure. And you can bring those things out and actually sell them, like in yard sales. And, you know, this is the time of the year where you see a lot of yard sales. Also, you can make those clothes and household donations, like to the thrift store. This is a time of the year where when you're changing the wardrobe, your summer clothes and the winter clothes, and then you have those clothes that you can't wear no more, and so you go ahead and take them to the thrift store. So, and plus you can claim them on your taxes because you get the slip saying that you made the donation, and so forth. So those are some things that you can do. I also want, there's always a service that someone needs. There's a saying that necessity is the mother of invention. There's someone that needs a service that, you could be getting paid for, especially like in the summers, maybe lawn service. People need their grass cut, or their lawn service, or, babysitting, or all types of summer jobs, especially in the summer. And not just for young people. Sometimes you see older people, they're taking advantage of these summer jobs, like at stores and restaurants. There's a couple of places like Sam's Club and BJ's, where even you have older people, they do the ones that give out the samples and everything. And so, there's opportunities there, especially in the summers. And, your product, like I have books, I've written books, so I sell my books. My husband, he has a Harley Davidson for sale, some things that maybe you don't necessarily need. Now, he likes his motorcycle now, but, it's something that could generate some income, things like that. So, there's always some things that you can do. You could sell some things that you don't really need anymore. Now, the third thing, sometimes you can just be creative. You can just be creative and come up with some services and some ideas. And, I know so many people that have come up with ideas, like our daughter-in-law. She is into healthy drinks and things. She sells her healthy fruit juices, and her sister, she makes the concoction of the shea butter. She sells that. There's different things that can be done. I know another person that he helps to when people move out of houses and they leave things, and sometimes he can get items and appliances and then he resells them. There's so many things, but you can be creative. I got something to share with y'all that a friend of mine just shared with me this week, and I just thought it was ingenious because in this day and time, the pet business is a very lucrative business. Everything from food and ice cream and services and stuff like this. But I think you have never seen something like this. Check this out.
Your typical school bus.
Thank you. Bye.
Evan started his doggy daycare business in 2019 and had vans wrapped to look like school buses to take the pooches to play. But he never thought about getting a real school bus until last year.
Everybody was asking, when are you going to get an actual school bus? That would be such a hit. I was just piddling around and looking online for some, and this one became available, and it was a really good deal. And so I went and checked it out. I had a mechanic check it out, and I ended up buying it, and it's been the best decision I've probably made with my business.
15 to 20 dogs get picked up in the morning.
Good girl. Aren't I like a boy?
Sit with their besties on the way to the ranch.
They all have their best friends, that they're cliques, if you will.
And get to play with them for hours.
We have the bubbles, the kiddie pools, the constant toys, the balls being thrown. We have a ball launcher, an automatic ball launcher. The majority of my dogs, they live in apartments, a 700 square foot efficiency. They don't have a yard space. They don't get a lot of stimulation throughout the week. So really getting to get out and get to see other dogs and do what they love to do and socialize and get to play is really the best part of their day, in my opinion.
And And at the end of that day, the dogs get back onto the bus alongside their best buddies to ride on home.
Bye, Frankie. Good girl.
But the dogs and their owners aren't the only ones who love the bus.
I've had people reach out to me on social media and send me pictures of the bus. I had a lady messaging me that made her kid's day. She was in a car seat at the stoplight next to us, and she rolled down her window and she's waving at all the dogs and things like that. And the lady took a picture and said what a day it made for her daughter to actually see dogs on a real school bus.
But Evan says there still may be just a few downsides.
What I'm finding is, and it might sound silly, but my school bus is the hardest one to maneuver around traffic because it's the largest vehicle I own. It also gets the worst gas mileage of all my vehicles.
So, will we be seeing more doggy school buses?
Honestly, the cargo vans are more efficient and easier to maneuver around, especially Austin traffic, but the people are speaking and they love the school buses. So I'm definitely exploring the idea of swapping some of these cargo vans out for actual school buses, but we'll see what the future holds, right?
You know what? I just thought that was so ingenious. And I guess, and even being a retired educator, I mean, just the thing about dogs getting on the bus, and, a lot of the dogs, they seem like they act better than human children or whatever. But I just thought the concept was so genius. Oh my goodness. And, that's part of his business. He was talking about the downsides, that his vans were more efficient than the buses, but all of that. But, how creative, because he has this place, there's a lot of places, kennels and places where you can take your dogs. But the idea to pick them up like they're going to school on the school bus and then bringing them back home at the end of the day, just genius. And this man is making money doing this, y'all. So, I just thought that was just a little break, but it was just ingenious. But, be creative, because there are services that people can use. And that was that took a load off of the owners, trying to get the animal there, because it looks like they lived in Austin. He lives in Austin, Texas, where there's heavy traffic, where he comes with the bus and picks them up. I just thought it was ingenious. Well, I want to get into the generational wealth tips. Another thing that is helpful in the summers, especially those of us that might be have some more freer time in the summer. A lot of times it gives me an opportunity to look at, TV and some helpful things that are shared about different topics. And this topic caught my attention during the summer. There's an episode on GMA 3, Good Morning America 3, in the afternoon. And every Monday they share this segment, the whole show is called Money Mondays. And so this past Monday, I was watching this, and we've been talking about generational wealth. We've been talking about generational wealth because, sometime back, we talked about the verse in Proverbs 13:22, that a good man leaveth an inheritance to his children's children. And, you really have to plan for that, but because, just like Benjamin Franklin said, if you fail to plan, you are planning to fail. And what I liked about this segment that I'm getting ready to show you, that the summers can be every stage of your life. You can start planning, especially even for your baby, and then on up. And it's four stages that I'm getting ready to share from Money Mondays about generational wealth. So I'm going to go ahead and share these, and we'll talk a little bit about each stage as we go through it. So here we go. And like I said, this is about, these are generational wealth tips from Monday Mondays on GMA 3. So, okay, here is the first one. Here we go.
Generational wealth. We sat down with finance expert and social media influencer Haley Sachs, also known as Mrs. Dow Jones.
And we got our take on how to grow wealth as a family. And I started out by asking what exactly constitutes as generational wealth.
Generational wealth is not just for the rich. It's just the matter of passing down assets from one generation to the next. Why can't you do it? Everyone can do it. We're going to teach them how today on Money Monday.
Okay, so you say you actually should start doing this in the baby age? I mean, babies don't have money, right? Like, how do you do this?
So for all those new parents out there, the earlier that you can start building wealth, the better, because of compound interest. So it's not about saving for your child, it's really about investing. And what's so crazy is that if you open your child an investment account and you put $100 a month in it till they're 18, and it's in, say, a low-cost index fund that tracks the S&P 500, maybe it returns 8% a year annually. By the time that they're 18, you will have put in $21,600. But this is where it's magic. Say you never put another dollar in that account, because of compound interest, that money, that $21,600, will grow to $1.2 million by the time they're 60. If that's not a rich baby, I don't know what it is.
I just made your baby a millionaire.
I mean, come on.
Well, you know.
Okay, so we starting with the baby stage. All right. So, like I said, it doesn't matter where you start. You know, I thought it was kind of funny because the host said, "The baby doesn't have money." Well, of course, we're not talking about the baby. We're talking about parents planning in the beginning. And you know, the lady that is doing this, of course, it sounds like it has to do a lot, you know, with the stock market and everything. But she's just talking about, you know, putting money even in a simple savings account. You know, even if you don't put it in the bank, you know, if you just put some money away. You know, I remember when my children were coming up, they had the godparents. And I don't hear much about savings bonds anymore, but they're still around, because what you would do, you would buy a savings bond, say $100 savings bond for $50, half the price. And so you allow the money to build up and the bond to mature. It might take about 5 years before it reach $100. And then if you had it beyond that, it would earn interest. So you paid $50 for $100 savings bond, and in 5 years it had matured to what, $100. And if you kept it longer than that, you know, it would be interest. So, you know, maybe by the time that, you know, the child got 18, you know, you had all those bonds that you know, if you paid, you know, bought $10,000 over the years, you would have over $20,000 by the time they got to be 18, you know, and that's how it all works. And, you know, there's all types of, I call instruments now to save, just like she was talking about, because that compound interest is true. If you put it in a fund where, because we're not talking about saving, we're more into investing now. It's planting a seed and letting it grow. Just like we talk about planting food. You know, you plant a kernel of corn, you're not just going to get one kernel of corn or one ear of corn. You're going to get several ears of corn with many thousands of kernels on it. So the thing is about investing, just like my book, How Would Jesus Invest? We got to break that poor man's mentality and think more about, even saving is great, but then talking about investing so that it multiplies, because, you know, God is even about multiplication. But it's you got to start somewhere. But even if you start with you may be putting money away somewhere and just forgetting about it, or starting a bank account. Like I told you once before, I loved it when our youngest son was in the 3rd grade, and they had the bank come to the school, and the parents were the custodians, and we started his savings account in 3rd grade. Money that people gave him for gifts and birthdays and all that, put it in the bank. Oh my goodness, it works. And it's got to be planning with that. Okay, let's go to the next stage, which we would say the teenage stage. Okay, here we go.
How do we set them up financially then?
Well, a job is a great way to teach a child about responsibility, but it's also a great way to teach your child about financial responsibility and to teach them that whenever that they have a paycheck, you don't just spend all the money in that paycheck. You're always going to put a portion of it aside towards future you. You're going to invest a portion of it towards your retirement. So what's amazing is that if you're a child under 18 and you have taxable income, so say your parents have a business and they could hire you, or you could scoop ice cream, you could work as a caddy at a golf shop, whatever you want to do. But as long as you have taxable income, you qualify for something called a custodial Roth IRA, which is basically the same as a regular Roth IRA, except you can open it for your child if they're under 18. So that means that you're going to get tax-free growth on your money. And so it's a really amazing tool to use. And as long as the child has taxable income, they can open that account.
Okay, so then when you get to be an adult.
Okay, so the teenage years, okay, getting those summer jobs and everything. And I like what she said, because this is a point where not only they should learn about financial responsibility, she used that word, but financial literacy. And that was one of the things, and she mentioned the part that they must learn at this stage, especially if they get those jobs and everything, that just because they make that money, they just don't take it and spend it. I mentioned this to you all before. When I got my first paycheck from my first summer job, child, oh, I got this money and I can spend it. But, the first thing my mom said, oh, we're going to split this up 3 ways. First, you're going to pay your tithes. Next, you save. You save some, put some in the bank account, and then you have some to spend. So it was a 3-way thing. And this is a good state. It's really never too early for a child to learn about things about credit, how money works. I remember one time I was going to the bank, to the ATM machine, and my grandson was really young. I think he was maybe 5 or 6. And he saw me get the money out the ATM, and he said, oh, Grandma, you're getting free money. And that was the lesson I could teach. I said, oh, no one gives you anything free. Me and Granddaddy, we work hard. We put the money in the bank so that we can get the money out of the bank. And those were just early lessons. And so, the small children and teens, this is a good time, to even learn about credit and all of those types of things. Let's go to the next stage, the young adults. Here we go.
Get to be an adult and you're out on your own, you have to do adult things. What do we all need to be focused on if you're trying to buy a house or something like that?
Well, I think as parents, the biggest thing to help your child, buy a house, which is a big purchase, you got to help them understand credit, because that's really going to determine their interest rate and help them get a good mortgage. So, teaching them good financial values, understanding to pay their balance off in full, to create a long, healthy credit history. And then also with that money that you're putting aside for that house, so, maybe it's for the down payment, it could be for closing costs, maybe you want to get a new couch. As your child is putting aside that money, make sure that it's not just sitting in their checking account earning 0 interest. Have them put that money into a high yield savings account. So that is basically like a regular savings account, except it's high yield. So we're going to get exactly.
So you're earning money.
You heard me. It's high yield savings account. Yes, you're earning money on your money, which we love. So that is a pro tip. Okay, you got to get that good credit score, and you got to get that high yield savings account going with that money that you're putting aside for the house.
And you talked about.
All right, young adults. You know what? buying a house, and many young people don't believe this, but buying a house is the biggest but the best investment that young people can make. Because, when you're renting, actually, this seems like you're throwing away money. Now, the way the tax things have changed, you don't get as much bang for the buck from your interest and stuff you pay on your house and stuff like you used to. Back in the day, you could use your car note and you could use all these different things. About the only thing you can use is your house interest and taxes. I mean, house interest and taxes towards your, taxes when you file and so forth. But it's always a good investment because it always appreciates. You always have something in a house that you can fall back on. A house is something that you can pass down even through generations. It's just like when we talk about different things, a business, maybe invested in a business, invested in a house. These are things that you can pass down. You can't pass down a job. You can't pass down an apartment, but these are things that can appreciate in value and that you can should invest in. And she was talking about anything that's going to bring you a high yield, even if you're going to put it in an account. Also as young adults, especially if you're working adults, and you have these programs, again, like the 401k plans. There are some companies, of course, they match your contribution. There are others that don't. But even if they don't, and I've been part of both of them, at the hospital, they matched my contribution. But when I got into education, I turned it over, but I just missed that matching at the hospital. But still, with what I was putting in as in education, it was still a blessing when I retired. And, it held me over until I got my retirement because I retired early. I retired earlier than the time that I could get full retirement. So what I had saved up in those plans, and I planned it. I looked at what I would have, and by the time that I would be able to get into my retirement and my Social Security and all that kind of stuff, you got to plan. That's like Benjamin Franklin said, if you fail to plan, you're planning to fail. So even with that, young adults, because we this group here, the millennials or Gen X or whatever, they're not thinking ahead, about things, even, in job choices. A lot of us, I know it's a new day and we're in technology and everything else, and we baby boomers, we knew the benefit of staying with something, until, we retired, we got the 30 years and all of that. And I counted that as a blessing. Buying a home and so forth like that. So that's for the young adults. Now the last stage is even good, especially when we're talking about, the verse that we were talking about. A good man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. When you think about that verse, you say, well, what happened to the children? You just skipped over to the grandchildren. But check this out. This is the last season here, the last summer. Here we
To
go.
be an adult and you're out on your own, you have to do adult things.
What can grandparents do?
Well, grandparents, sometimes they have a house that they want to pass on, right? Maybe they bought it for $60,000 or $100,000 back in the day, and now it's worth triple that, or 2 times that. And maybe they want to give it to their grandchildren, and they think, oh, I'm going to put my child on the house. I'm going to put my grandchild on the house. But that's actually not the best way to do it, because you will have to pay huge capital gains taxes, and there's a way around it. So really, if you're a grandparent who wants to pass a house down to their grandchild, put the house in a living trust, and you will avoid having to pay capital gains taxes because of something called the step down cost basis.
That's good.
That's good.
That's really good.
I know.
All right.
Money Monday.
Yeah, Money Monday. With the bling bling jacket.
Come on.
That was very good. Again, we're talking about passing down the inheritance, and especially like I said, the best type of investment is a house. Now, I love this, and this was good, especially for people our age. If you have a house, and I didn't know this, that instead of just putting it in the child's name or the grandchild's name, you put it in a living trust, because that saves the grandparents or whoever the person that's passing it down from having to pay capital gains tax. That was a good nugget. That was a very good nugget. But it's all about planning and doing these things in the summers of your life. Oh my goodness. I hope you got something from this. If you missed something, just go back to the beginning, because as I said today, I was finishing up some summer tips. I might come across some more that I'll share the remainder of the summer. But today I shared some more summer tips, and then we talked about some generational wealth tips. A lot of times, sometimes we also need to invest in getting information. We need to invest in getting information. I have a library. My husband has a library. My husband sees and looks at a lot of things, online. Those are good things, that even when I was writing my books, when I saw different things and read different things, and we need to invest in even getting more information about finances, even if we have to start with the Bible. But we can also look at other resources and things that can help us. I just love this Money Mondays that comes on GMA 3. But those are just some tips. And like I said, I'm getting off here. Oh, I'm a little bit over, like at 37 minutes. But I thank you for joining me today. For How Would Jesus Invest? And although my time is running out, I never want to leave without saying thank you so much. Thank you for what? Well, thank you for joining me and giving me this opportunity to share. And many of you, you're our church members, you're our partners, you are people that have just latched on to the Gem Nugget channel. However, that you support this ministry, we just want to say thank you so much, coming from Pastor James E. Gilmore, Sr. and I. So until next Saturday, this has been How Would Jesus Invest? Y'all stay cool now. It is going to be hot around here in the 757. Bye.
It seems like money is a taboo subject that we talk about in the church, and we use money every day. So open your mind that God wants for you. So he asked the question, how would Jesus invest? We're breaking the poor man's mentality. How would Jesus invest? We're breaking the poor man's mentality. Yeah.